Hello and welcome to the interview here on France 24. The question, where is Muammar Gaddafi? A day after rebel fighters swept into his compound, searching from room to room, Libya's 42-year leader is absolutely nowhere to be found in what was considered to be his last hideout. But rebel leaders on the National Transitional Council in Libya aren't waiting to capture him. They've already set their sights on the hard planning ahead, planning to build Libya, a new Libya. Now, my guest today, Fatih Benchattouane, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
You are a former minister, I'm using the word former for our viewers to understand that, in Gaddafi's regime. You were both an industry minister and you were also an oil minister, and you quit your post in 2006. It's been slightly more complicated now, your sort of turn of events and your trajectory since the revolution. Today you're based in France. You've been here for 3 months. You're not attached to the National Transitional Council in any official capacity, but you say you're a dissident. You say you are supporting the revolution. Describe to me how you ended up here in France.
Well, I went from, at the beginning of revolution, I went from Tripoli to Misrata, it's my homeland, and stayed with my family there. And you know that the war broke there, and
it was under siege, Misrata.
Of course, it was under siege. At the beginning, it wasn't under siege completely. It was quiet, and then started by time to be sieged, completely sieged, and bombarded and destroyed by heavy artillery, and a lot of people. As you know, a lot of people died and a lot of problems. And I was there, everybody bombarded them, myself and everybody, their houses randomly bombarded. And
so you left?
So I
sorry,
stayed. It's okay. I stayed for a while, and then a lot of my friends and myself also say it's better to go and help from outside because they are in need of many things, I think. So I went to Malta to try to help.
Some of the critics, sir, say you didn't leave Misrata, you fled Misrata. You fled in a small boat to go to Malta.
No, I actually, a lot of newspapers saying that because they don't know. I left actually to Malta because I was in Misrata. Misrata is my homeland. So I'm not fleeing, I'm leaving for helping.
And now you're here in France, and you are, along with the rest of us, watching these events unfold, these dramatic events in Tripoli, where the rebel fighters are there, but some people saying it's far from over. Where's Gaddafi? You were as close to Gaddafi as you could get without being a family member, some people would say. What's the guy thinking? Where is he?
Well, to be honest, God knows where he is because he has a very strict security with him, and most of the time he doesn't say whatever he's thinking to the people. So nobody knows. But I expected that he's in the south of Libya, near Chad or
in the desert.
In the desert. In the south, in Sabha. And the other villages around it. It could be.
Do you see him right now? Is he with a very small group of supporters? Do you think he still has a lot of loyalists around him? How's he traveling around?
Well, I mean, I don't think he has any more loyalists because he went crazy and killing everybody, even the people with him, and even the relatives of him. They don't accept the situation. I mean, somebody is going to kill everybody. So it is the battle between him and maybe part of his family and all the Libyan people.
Regardless of where Gaddafi is right now, most people seem to agree that we're ready for the post-Gaddafi era. Everyone seems to be planning for that. Yet the rebel leadership seems to be very much divided. Are they ready to govern Libya as a unified entity?
Well, it's not divided. A lot of people say divided. There's a lot of people thinking differently, and there's nothing of thinking differently. But all of them, I think, they are in one line, I mean, in the goals of the revolution. I mean, everybody thinking that he is behind the goals of revolution. But of course, in discussion, there's a lot of different opinions. Everybody has different opinion. But I think, as you know, the council is not going to stay for a long time. I mean, maybe
This is a temporary count situation
temporary
here.
count situation. Is going, as they said, maybe it's going to stay for another 8 months to set the theater for the next government.
Up to 8 months, you just said.
It's about 8 months. That's what they expected.
It's quite a long time because the Transitional Council has been based in Benghazi in the east of the country
That's
up
right.
until now. Now they say they're going to move into Tripoli.
That's true.
Do they have the authority, the credibility? Will the people in Tripoli listen to them and accept their authority?
I think during the war they have a lot of problems. They don't have resources. It's a war, and everything is mixed. So they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do much. But now I think they could, after the war ended, and they will come to Tripoli. I think they will settle for about, say, maybe 6 to 8 months. They set the theater for election, and they elect in a group of people. And this group of people, they will be like a Congress, for instance, and this group of people will select a government, which we call it a transient government.
A transitional
Yeah,
government.
that's a transition government, which is a transient president and a transient government. This government, a new government, will try to convert Libya or to take Libya from the situation we are now to the new situation.
That's an ideal situation.
That's right.
As you describe it on paper, it sounds great.
Yeah.
But what about, and we hear about it a lot, all of the sectarian divisions, the possibility for tribal conflicts? There's what, 140 tribes right now in Libya, maybe 30 dominant ones?
Yeah.
Do you have fears that this could become sort of an Iraq-style situation, sectarian conflict?
Well, what we think, all of us, the Libya should line up, most of them, not in a tribal or regional way or to ideology. I think most of them, they should be behind the goals of the revolution and try to help the council, because the council is not going to stay for a long time. I mean, 6 or 8 months, I don't think it's a long time.
Now, Gaddafi himself set up all of these people's committees that were supposed to represent the will of the people.
Yeah.
But in fact, he was very savvy at playing tribes against one another. His own tribe dominated.
Well, this is a very different situation. Gaddafi was saying something, and the reality is something completely different. And Gaddafi was a dictatorship. He's doing everything by his own.
Were you from Gaddafi's tribe?
No, of course,
all.
no, of course.
Okay.
But people talking about a lot about tribes in Libya. Tribes in Libya, I think, they are not in the same way that people thinking. Libya now going to the cities and civilized in Benghazi and Tripoli, and this city full of all kind of tribes, and the effect of tribes now is very small. But
so we're making too much of it. I'm making too much of the tribal
too
factor.
much of a tribes effect. The tribes effect, I think, is very small, and most of people now civilized, and they don't think in the same way, in the same culture. This is the culture of the regime, the old regime. The culture of and the practice of the old regime is based on tribal, regional loyalty.
And the new regime will try to look beyond that, is what you're saying.
That's right.
In the time we have left, you were a former oil minister, energy minister.
Yeah.
Libya's oil is now becoming an object, a precious, valued commodity. A lot of people are looking at it.
Yeah.
Qatar and United Arab Emirates seem very well positioned. What role do you see them playing, the Gulf states in general?
Well, the Gulf states, especially Qatar, they helped Libya a lot. I mean, and we respect them very much with Emirates, with Tunisia, with others. With respect to oil, I think oil will be again in the process of the rebirth, and then after that, I think we'll start to produce oil, and our relation with Qatar and foreign country like NATO, for instance, will be a lot better than before, because as you know, people who help us in the revolution, we shouldn't go to other people who didn't help us, of course.
Well, some would say the only reason, perhaps, that Qatar was helped NATO so much, UAE, is because they were only looking at the oil afterwards. They were trying to bet on the post-Gaddafi era.
I don't think so. Qatar is very rich with gas and oil, and they don't need Libya. Qatar is our brothers, I think, and their situation was very good for us, and we thank them very much. But we think in Libya, most of us, we think in Libya, our relation, coming relation with either Arab or foreign, will be concentrated with the people who help us in the revolution.
The building task beyond just the oil question is enormous. There's been a lot of damage of infrastructure, I would imagine, ports, seaports.
Yeah.
How much of a challenge is that going to be? How much money is Libya going to need, do you think, for its reconstruction?
Well, as you know, the oil technology is not very complicated. I mean, it's bombs taking oil up and surface equipment and pipelines. I mean, I think they could repair it very quickly. I don't think it will take more than 3, 4, 5 months.
And the ports and
the ports, I don't think the damage very. We have about 8 ports, not just 1 or 2. So most of them now, they are not destroyed, I mean, completely. So I think to produce oil, I think is not difficult if they make a plan, very good plan, to repair and reproduce.
Which they're going to try to do. We're just about out of time. I just want to ask you going back to Libya pretty soon?
Of course,
Are things, do you feel secure enough now?
Of course, I will.
You'll be going back to Tripoli?
I will.
Are you playing a role in the government, perhaps?
Well, no.
The new government?
No. For me, it's enough. I mean, I worked a lot. I just want to help the people. With my experience, old experience, either in oil or in education or in research, I would like to help.
Rebuilding a new Libya. Fatih Ben Shatwan, former minister in Muammar Gaddafi's government, now someone who very much says he supports the revolution and is looking forward to going back to your home country to help rebuild it. I thank you very much for being my guest here on France 24.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to all of you for watching. And of course, you could follow all of the latest news out of Libya on our website. That is www.france24france24.com. Thanks for watching.